Hello everyone, welcome to TPNN, the Profile Netcasting Network, broadcasting from the Profile in beautiful downtown Vancouver. Brought to you by Mr. Taxes. Visit them at mrtaxes.ca. You're listening to The Allan Knight Show, your business communications coach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Allan Knight Show here at the Profile. We come to you every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time from beautiful Profile down in Gastown, Vancouver. If you haven't been to Vancouver, I say this every week, but pretty well. If you've never been to Vancouver, you got to come here, especially in the summer when it's really beautiful. And one of the must-sees is Gastown, and in the heart of Gastown, the Profile sits, Suite 200, 375 Water Street Profile. The owner is Kevin Penstock. He's actually in studio with his son. We're going to have a different show today. It's more of a family show. The show is all about business communication, the importance of interpersonal skills, the importance of connecting with each other, whether you're a leader, whether you're a father, whether you're in sales or customer service. It's all about mastering your communication skills. And every week I pretty well say the same thing. More and more people are getting into their own business, and they need support, they need training, they need an environment within which to work together. And this is an amazing co-working atmosphere here at the Profile. Every week we usually have a guest expert. And this week as well, we have a very interesting gentleman. His name is Ricky Shetty. And it's not going to be your usual kind of a show. You know, he didn't walk in alone. He walked in with his 2-year-old daughter. and he's making a point. He's on a mission. When I met this guy about probably 3 years ago, immediately you first got the sense that this was a family guy. He was committed. He wanted to have children. He married a beautiful young lady. He was going to have his wedding, I think, in a stadium filled with 50,000 seats. I'll have to ask him whether he pulled that off. But he's a great guy, and he's an expert blogger. So we're going to talk a bit about blogging, and we're going to talk about blogging is communication. So that's one aspect of our communication is online. We're also going to talk about offline communication. In his case, his passion is becoming a good dad. And I think in our world right now, that's really needed. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Ricky Shetty and his little daughter, Rianne. Rianne, right? Mm-hmm. Ricky, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me on your show. This is Rianne. She's actually just 1 year old so far.
1 year old?
Yes.
She's staring at me as if she knows who I am. You know, she's looking at me and saying, get off it, Allan. You know what I mean? Like, I know who you are.
The last time you saw her, she was in the belly.
Exactly. Ricky, before we get into the daddy thing, because it's really, really important, and I know that's your passion, why don't you take a minute or so, just talk a little bit about your background.
Sure.
And how you came to be here, how you came to be a dad, and how you came to get into blogging, which will be part of what we're going to talk about today.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, my background is entrepreneurship. I've done a lot of different businesses. I actually ran some events here called Networking with Purpose. It was the largest monthly networking group in the city. We had 100 plus people coming out to that monthly. Allan was actually one of our speakers a few times. And then, when I became a dad, I found that networking was taking a lot of my energy and time and wasn't really bringing monetary return. So I basically closed down a lot of the networking I was doing with the Rapid Time Networks, with Networking with Purpose. And I focused really on, I moved my offline networking to online. So I was already strong at social media networking. And then I started blogging. And the reason I started the blog is because when I became a dad, I didn't really know how to be a dad, tell you the truth. I didn't have a good dad, and usually we model parenting from our own parents. Right. Because I didn't have a good dad, I was kind of in a quandary. How do I become the best dad I can be to my daughter? And I looked for resources. There weren't many resources just particularly aimed at dads. There were a lot of mom stuff. I mean, you look at the libraries, the bookshops, and they're full of resources for moms. And, dads and moms are half the equation, but I think it's skewed towards the mom demographic. Right. So I basically started something called Daddy Blogger. And the mission of Daddy Blogger is to change the world one dad at a time. Wonderful. So it's not only me becoming a better dad, but it's helping other dads become better dads too.
Wow. So needed. That's great. Take a minute to talk a bit about blogging. You know, everyone hears blogging. You got to blog. And one of the things I find, I think you'll agree in social media, is that a lot of people in business have a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I got to do this. I got to tweet. I got to do Facebook. I got to do YouTube. And often it doesn't fit in with their marketing model. why don't you take a minute for those even in the audience who don't know a lot about blogging? First, why don't you, in a very concise way, could you define what a blog is?
Sure. I think the word blog itself is derived from web blog. So it's basically it's like an online diary. And it's your online presence. So I look at myself as creating not just a blog, but a brand. So actually, Daddy Blogger is not just a personal blog. It's actually a brand about fatherhood, right? So I believe when you're creating a blog, you should also look at the branding aspect. I mean, create a strong logo, integrate it into all of your social media. And it's basically defining who you are as a business owner. So I took fatherhood to the extreme. I treat it almost like a business. So I want to monetize my blog. I'm writing a book, which I'm releasing on Father's Day this year.
Cool.
Yeah, that's going to be in 6 weeks, actually, June 16, 2013.
But could you say a bit about what is the blog for? When you blog, first of all, how often do you blog?
Sure.
And what are you trying to communicate, and how do you start interacting with the people that you're blogging for?
Sure. I think like you said, a blog is a device to communicate with people, right? Just like social media, just like a conversation, just like an interview. A blog is basically our thoughts on paper, but in this case, on our computer screens.
Right.
So people write books, but it's a hard process to write a book. Whereas a blog is something really easy. You can set up for free on something like WordPress, and you don't need any technical skills. So I think it's a good way of getting your message out there with limited skills. You don't need all the fancy video equipment. You don't need audio. You don't need a sound engineer. All you need is yourself, your hands, and a keyboard.
How often do you blog?
With me, I think the key to a successful blog is to blog regularly, consistently, and frequently.
Okay.
So in my case, I actually blog daily. I blog every night before midnight. I make sure that's time stamped. So then if I look back at the record of it, there'll be a blog every day from, I launched on December 1st of last year, and now we're like May 2nd, right? So 150 days straight of blogging now.
Now, when you choose a blog, are you responding to what people are commenting or asking you, or are you just looking at the world and saying, I'm going to blog about this because I know it's needed? Like, how do you decide what to blog?
That's a great question, Allan. I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I interview a lot of dads, so I ask them what are some of the challenges. So I know someone like Kevin would agree to me. The work-life balance is a huge one. How do we balance our life as husbands, as fathers, and as business people? Because those are three important roles that a lot of men face. So the work-life balance is obviously a relevant one. How to be more actively involved with your kids' lives. Traditional gender roles are changing.
Right.
So I think dads are more actively involved nowadays. And then obviously I write about just my own perspective and philosophy into parenting. And I also write about subjects to do with blogging itself. So I like to actually help other bloggers through my blog by teaching them about SEO, social media marketing.
So you talk about a number of things, including your personal aspects of your relationships, your personal and business as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Now, being the social guy, and when I met you, that's what hit me, right? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you went to work online as well. Mm-hmm. Now, you hear a lot now about, and Mike talks a lot about it, our producer is a YouTube expert and a video expert.
Yeah, I've seen some of his videos.
So obviously Google, who bought YouTube, and YouTube is one of the biggest platforms.
Yeah.
Now, how would you assess? She's adorable. Well, I wish I had a daughter. Is it too late?
It's never too late.
Okay. How would you assess YouTube? Meaning that when people hear blog, I think Kevin, the owner of Profile, is going to help us out here.
Just in case you got cranky, I said, hold on. Kevin's a dad.
Is she going to start yelling more at this?
I'll bring her back in a second.
You can feed her the mums.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, with so many blogs, a lot of content, one of the things that I'm a big stickler about is that, and I hear a lot about it recently, is that people are inundated with information. There's a lot of information overload. I'm a guy that personally believes the mind is good, but it's not your power source. The heart is more the power source.
Yes.
Now, is there a danger that there's overkill in writing? And if that's potentially so, do you think there's going to be a significant growth, just like we're doing more and more video, in video blogging, which gives more like personality? When people see Ricky Shetty and hear his voice, it's real. It's not just typing. How would you talk? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I integrate video blogging and written blogs. So I have the written, the audio, the video all integrated. My blogs contain pictures, they contain video, because who wants to read all the time, right? You need a little bit of break with some pictures, a video. So even my YouTube channel, I think, have about 80,000 plus views on the channel alone, and I have just topics like how to change a baby's diaper, family-friendly activities, interviews with dads I've done, right? So I'm really focused on YouTube as well.
Okay.
So it's not an either or.
Yeah.
It's a both and.
Combination.
Yeah.
Now, for those that are really new to it, take us through the steps. In other words, let's say tonight you go home. You decide you're going to do a blog.
Yes.
Now, and you've got the subject. Where do you go online? How do you potentially connect it to video? Take us through the steps that you would go through. Also, mention the size of the blog.
Sure. I mean, a good blog varies from anywhere between 400 to 1,000 words. Anything more than 1,000 is a little bit too much, I believe, and anything less than 400 is a little bit too little. So I think that would be the rough range of the blog. For me, I pretty much have predetermined topics that I could basically blog from now until the day I die, right? Just because there's so much I want to express.
Right.
So it's more about choosing, and sometimes it has to do with feelings, it has to do with current events.
Right.
It might have to do with just the situation I'm in. Like, for example, I'm leaving to the Philippines at midnight tonight, so I'm actually going to be blogging from the Philippines.
Will you be blogging about us in the profile?
Yeah, absolutely. Check out daddyblogger.ca for a blog about this experience as well.
Right.
So I blog about just for example, because I blog daily, what's the most important thing that happened in the day?
Right.
So this is probably one of the big ones today.
Now, when you go to blog, where do you go? When you get on your computer, where do you go to blog?
Yeah, so basically I use a WordPress based template. So on WordPress, you just create a new post, and then you write it in. And then you can insert pictures, and it's quite easy. There's a button that says add media, and you can add a picture on there, add a video on there. And I mean, to actually understand it better, you can actually just Google how to start a blog, go to YouTube, and there'll be like slideshow presentations, PowerPoint presentations. In the technical aspects of setting up a blog, because it's kind of hard to explain without the computer, the laptop. I mean, I could walk you through it, right?
Right.
But just verbally, it's a little bit difficult to explain the technicalities.
Right, cool. By the way, we're before we kind of ask you the last couple of questions, just a reminder, we come to you every week from the profile here in beautiful Gastown, Vancouver, and it is the Allan Night Show. It's all about communication. It's all about business communication. And today we have a very special guest. His name is, we have special guests every week, but this is a really special guest. Ricky Shetty with his daughter Rianne, who's sitting in the lap. Guess what? I don't know if could we get a camera on Kevin at all? This would be really cool. And then he's got his beautiful little son Hewitt sitting there. Could you get a picture of them?
Look at how peaceful
Look
she
where,
is. She loves
look at
Kevin.
that. Look at her. She's smiling.
Can you hear us over here?
She's happier with him than you. You notice that?
Oh, because
I said the wrong
food,
thing.
Though.
She heard what I said. Anyway, this is a real family show. Hewitt, did you want to come and say hello? Do you want to come and say hello? Come on. Come. How old is Hewitt? Hewitt, come here.
There you go. Speaking to the mic.
First of all, tell everybody what your full name is.
Leo.
Is that his name, really?
Hewitt Leo.
Oh, Hewitt Leo Penstock. And how old are you, Leo?
7.
7. Now, which camera does he look at? That one. So you wave at the camera, and thousands of people are now watching you. Did you know that? Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Ricky, last couple of questions.
Sure.
A lot of people are going to ask the following question: how do you monetize blogging?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
That's a great question. I think the 3 main ways to monetize a blog. One is to sell your own product, something like an ebook, sometimes something like an actual physical book, a video series, products. Selling your own product. Second is affiliate marketing, so selling someone else's product. So example, if you had a coaching program, I could have an affiliate link, put in the code daddyblogger and get a discount, and I get a commission from that, right? And I do have a lot of affiliates with the local business community, people like Matt Astafan, Iman Agai, Roger Killen, so I have affiliate links with them. I sell their workshops through my blog. I get a small commission. It might be 20-30%. Right. And the third way to generate income through a blog is advertising. So you can do things like Google AdWords, but I actually just create joint venture partners, and I put a little sidebar advertisement. You can also put advertisements in your newsletters. So those are the top 3 ways. Once again, I'll repeat. You sell your own products, affiliate marketing, and advertising. Plus, there are other ways. For example, you could do ghost blog writing. So I could write a blog for Allan Knight, and no one would know that I actually wrote it, and you could pay me something, right?
Oh, cool.
So that's the ghost blogging. I could actually be assistant for the top bloggers in the world and get paid a salary to assist the bloggers.
Right.
So there's a lot of other ways. I mean, you can do sponsored posts. Like if someone wants me to write a post for them, I charge $100 for a blog post.
Okay.
And then you can sign contracts to write travel blogs. So there's actually a lot of ways to generate income on a blog. You just have to be creative and create good joint venture partners.
Wow. Now, you're giving us some really good information. I can see how much work you've done over the last couple of years. What are top 2 or 3 don'ts, things you don't want to do as a blogger?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's not even on there. I gotta think on
I
the spot.
always surprise my guests.
Yeah, what don't you want to do? I think you don't want to not blog consistently, right? It goes back to how to have a successful blog consistently. How to have an unsuccessful blog, don't blog regularly, right? And I think also stick to your niche. So if your niche is fatherhood, like mine, stick to subjects to do with fatherhood. Don't write about random stuff like knitting or cooking, but I guess you could be a cook as a dad too, right? But try to keep it within your niche to have a successful blog.
Wonderful. How do people get in touch with you?
Oh, quite easily. Like I said, my website is daddyblogger.ca, Ricky at daddyblogger.ca. You can look me up on all the social media. Ricky Shetty, I'm quite prominent on all of the social media.
Cool.
Yeah.
You have been a great guest, my friend. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for Rianne, and thank you for Hewitt as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Allan. It's great to be on the show.
Great. Just wanted to mention next week we'll be back at 3 p.m. as usual with the Allan Knight Show. If you would like to check out my website, it's allanknight.com. That's ALLANKNIGHT.com. If you want to email us, it's allan@allanknight.com. If you want to access our free speaking tips and get a free report, you could just go on the website, put your name and your email address, and we're happy to send that out to you. And we just hope you have a fantastic week, and we look forward to seeing all the guys next week. Have a great week. Take care.